Y'all, I am so excited about some of the green cards coming out in the Strixhaven set. So in this video today, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of cards that have stood out to me personally within the green color. And we are going to be taking a look at some ideas I have for maybe some deck ideas for maybe some future videos. We'll see. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Dragonsguard Elite. You can also pay 6. Ooh, double the number of +1/+1 counters on Dragonsguard Elite. This reminds me of Hydra's Growth, which I have a lot of fun with. Imagine, y'all, imagine putting Hydra's Growth on Dragonsguard Elite. Also, Exponential Growth. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X number of times. Imagine, okay, entertain my fantasy for just a moment. Dragonsguard Elite, dumping counters on it, using Magecraft, spending mana to double the number of 1/1 counters on Dragonsguard Elite. While that's happening, put Hydra's Growth on it, which doubles the number of +1/+1 counters on it at the beginning of each turn. Then paying the mana to double the doubling it, and then playing Exponential Growth, and then doubling it. At least doubling the creature's power. Oh my gosh. And if it had trample? I don't know if I would ever get as far as to play that combination of 3 cards, but that's what I want. Forget everything else. I just want to see that play out. I'm gonna make a video if I am able to get that to happen. I'm gonna have to play mono green and just play game after game after game trying to get this to happen. Or maybe I don't have to spend a lot of time and I just have to craft my graveyard to have those cards in it. I have plans. Another card that I really like from this deck, especially if you're as into counters as I am, would be Karok Wrangler. Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, so whenever you enable Magecraft, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, which lets you target which creature you're putting the +1/+1 counter on, which would pair really nicely with Dueling Coach, where you can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it, so you can kind of spread your counters wide. And I think it would work really nicely with Tenured Inkcaster, which makes it so that whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And if it's true that that stacks for every creature with a counter on it, again, spread your counter net wide. Have a bunch of itty bitty creatures on it, but they all have +1/+1 counters on it, and just destroy your opponent through this one. I'm super excited for this one, especially if it stacks. I don't think I've said this yet, but I love this set's creativity, and like some of the names on these cards are so great and so fitting for the theme too, for being a magical wizarding school. But Double Major, it's only 2 costing. In Simic, which one of my favorite color combinations, green blue, you can copy a target creature spell you control, except it isn't legendary if the spell is legendary. Which honestly, like, that's the only stipulation. That is so nice, especially because you cannot have 2 legendary creatures with the same name out on the battlefield at the same time. So if I'm reading this right, you can have 2 of the same legendary card. It's just one's legendary, one's not, which means you can have 2 with the same name on the board. I love it. Also, the artwork on this, I love it. I've already seen a handful of the Planeswalkers cards, but Kasmina, am I saying that right? Kasmina Enigma Sage. First of all, green blue, Simic. I love her already, but her passive ability. Each other planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina, and she has a +2. She has a +2 ability where you can scry 1 if you are playing with multiple planeswalkers in your deck. Oh my goodness, I have really bad luck when it comes to playing with planeswalkers. Like, I can barely keep 1 on the board long enough to reach its ultimate. However, a +2 planeswalker ability versus a +1, I mean, if you have a planeswalker that could really use the little extra bump up quickly. I mean, that right there is pretty good. In addition to that, her -8, her ultimate. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with this planeswalker. Exile this card and then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. My goodness, all it has to do is share a color with that planeswalker. Imagine if you had a planeswalker that had black or had green. Like, oh, you wouldn't have to pay this yucky 7 mana for something like Harness Infinity. That just makes me so happy. I'm also noticing that this set also involves a lot of token creatures too. I'm looking at Manifestation Sage, and when she enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green-blue fractal creature token. Put X number of +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hands. Like, that's solid. I love it, especially with oh my goodness, especially with the amount of cards that we've seen today that have to do with putting +1/+1 counters on it. I'm excited for it. Again, choices. I love it. Prismari Command. It's only 3 costing, and you can choose 2 of those abilities. It can either deal 2 damage to any target, creature, planeswalker. I believe planeswalkers are included in that. It can deal 2 damage to any target, creature, planeswalker, player, whoever. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards. Target player creates a treasure token, and you can also destroy a target artifact. And you get to choose 2 of those. It's a solid control-y card. I'm excited for it. Again, choices. Look, more choices. This time in Simic. Let's see, Quandrix Command. Oh my goodness, these choices. I can choose to return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand, counter target artifact or enchantment spell, put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature, and or target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library. I don't know what else to say. I feel like the cards that offer you like multiple choices as to what you can do, they're just so nice to have. If you got a lot of value out of this video, or even just a little bit of value, I would appreciate a like down below. If you are interested in more content like this, feel free to subscribe, hit that bell icon so that you know whenever I post a new video. And if you too are a fellow Magic the Gathering player and you would love to hang out with me and play along with me, then feel free to join me on Twitch. I go live every weekend playing some Magic here and there, and there's a link down below in the description, a personal invitation for you. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful, safe week and enjoy this set, because I know I will.